As the dust settles after Iran's massive retaliatory attack against Israel, you'd be forgiven for thinking it was Iran who fired first. Well, at least listening to Western leaders, you would.
I utterly condemn this attempt by the Iranian regime to harm innocent Israelis, to escalate this incredibly dangerous situation and push the region ever closer to the brink. It cannot be tolerated. We stand with Israel and we recognise her right to self-defence in the face of this aggression.
I'm clear-eyed. Iran is a destabilizing, dangerous force in the Middle East, and today's attack on Israel only further demonstrates that fact.
Iran is risking setting the entire region on fire. This must be prevented at all costs. Hezbollah and Iran must immediately stop their attacks on Israel.
Iran's strikes targeted the Mossad headquarters, along with 3 military bases which stored fighter jets and tanks, and only 1 person was killed. Meanwhile, in Gaza alone, strikes have killed over 40,000 innocent civilians.
As President Biden emphasized following yesterday's attack, the United States is fully supportive of Israel. Our actions have been defensive in nature. Let me be clear. The Iranian regime will be held responsible for its actions, and we strongly warn against Iran or its proxies taking actions against the United States or further actions against Israel.
But it seems Israel's Western partners' a la carte attitude to the right to defend yourself only applies to their ally Israel, while Iran, Lebanon and Syria only get to be targets. And again, it seems obvious that even when the Israelis strike first, they get to play the victim when struck back. And of course, yet again, they up the ante.
We have the capabilities to strike any point in the Middle East. Those of our enemies who have not yet understood this will soon understand it. We will respond. We know how to locate important targets. We know how to strike with precision and power.
And despite the obvious fact that it's Israel's apocalyptic assault on Gaza that sparked this latest period of conflict, it's now Israel that's warning us that nowhere in the Middle East is safe. Maybe even the Emir of Qatar and the Egyptians are somehow to blame too. After all, it seems anyone daring to point out the facts is playing a dangerous game right now, especially if you're in range of Israelis' bombs.
The recent escalation in the past days in Lebanon is what we warned about since the beginning of the Israeli aggression, and it is increasing, and the state of Qatar has worked intensively to reach a ceasefire and contain the conflict, but developments are accelerating. De-escalation means that the occupation army stops its unjust war on our brothers in Gaza and the West Bank and its aggression on Lebanon.
The cabinet also stressed the utmost danger that unilateral escalatory steps by Israel could lead the region to slip into more dangerous developments, which could lead to a comprehensive regional war that would destabilize the entire region and cast a negative shadow over the security of the entire region, something Egypt has repeatedly warned against. Perhaps the escalation of events yesterday heralds a dangerous turning point and confirms the need for the international community and influential powers to intervene to work on an immediate ceasefire, to stop the bloodshed and preserve the security and capabilities of the region.
So, if you thought Western hypocrisy over Israel's mass killings in Gaza couldn't be topped, maybe it's time to think again, as it now seems that even defending yourself against Israeli aggression is a big no-no in the West. And while Tel Aviv can do what it likes to who it likes with absolute impunity, it seems the victims have to sit on their hands and take their punishment.
Imagine if President Putin was at the UNGA and he announces a target at the heart capital of Ukraine. All hell would have broken loose. Now, take back step or two And remember what Netanyahu did, him announcing it right there in New York, as the world is looking at a very grim future all across the world, as the United States is unsure what will happen with its own elections, as are the people in Europe who are suffering a lot from the risks and the danger that the United States of America pushed them to in the Russian Ukrainian conflict. So there's a grim future for everyone, but at the same time, you're seeing a genocidal person, a person who is a psychopath at so many levels. I'm not saying this only because I'm Lebanese from South Lebanon and I have this animosity with the Zionist entity. I'm talking about Netanyahu himself. If you talk to psychiatrists or people who actually read body language, they could tell you that it's out of control.
Marwa, so sorry to interrupt. We do now have official confirmation from the Hezbollah group of the death of Hassan Nasrallah. What's your response, please? I'm so sorry. Let's end the interview there. We were talking to Marwa Osman, journalist and TV show host, clearly visibly shaken by the breaking news we're bringing you right now.
To make ethnic cleansing work, you have to, number one, kill significant numbers of people, of Palestinians who are basically innocent Palestinians, not Hamas. You have to kill large numbers of them, and you have to give them a powerful incentive by killing them to drive them out. Number two, you have to make the place unlivable. And that's what they're doing. I mean, they're not just killing people, they're making Gaza unlivable. And the reason it's unlivable is because they're trying to cleanse Gaza. And then finally, what they're doing is starving the population. Why are they starving the Palestinians? Why are they killing the Palestinians? Why are they making Gaza unlivable? It's very simple. They want to drive them out. And what's happened here is because they have been unable to get the Palestinians
Massive demonstration
out.
Indeed. It's not just here in the capital, Sana'a. It's in tens of other Yemeni provinces under the control of Yemen's Nasrallah movement. The slogans that we hear today are different slogans than any that we have heard. Slogans praising the martyred Hassan Nasrallah. Slogans chanting who is the leader of the Ummah, the Shaheed, the martyr of the Ummah, of the Islamic world. And the crowd of protesters, hundreds of thousands, repeat the name of Sayyid Hassan Nasrallah. And this is a demonstration to show the world, and even the Western world, that the Yemeni people and the Muslim world in general, they praise and they hail the axis of resistance leaders who have sacrificed their lives for the Palestinian cause. This was a leader unlike any of his kind, a leader who defeated the Israeli army back in 2006. A leader who Netanyahu, the Israeli cabinet, the Israeli army, the Israeli entity feared tremendously. And although this is a loss for the entire Muslim world, it's also a day of celebration in the sense that the axis of resistance, the cause that Sayyid Hassan Nasrallah sacrificed his life for, is live and in effect.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Kira Phillips. We are coming on the air because ABC News has now confirmed Iran has just launched a retaliatory missile attack targeting Israel. A U.S. senior administration official telling ABC News now that Iran is expected to fire 240 to 250 missiles at 4 targets in Israel. This includes the Mossad headquarters, Israel's spy agency, 3 Israeli air bases. We are told it'll take about 15 minutes to actually reach their targets. The U.S. and Israeli military with their defenses at the ready at this moment, including Israel's Iron Dome. Israel has ordered residents now in Jerusalem to shelter in place. The White House had signaled a potential strike was imminent. The attack follows a rapid escalation of violence in the Middle East, something we've been covering for weeks now, including an Israeli airstrike killing Hezbollah's leader in Beyrouth. Iran launching a direct attack on Israel in April, but few of its missiles and rockets actually reached their intended targets. Many were shot down by the U.S. coalitions in the region. This comes as the Israeli military now says its troops were conducting limited ground raids in southern Lebanon. Let's get straight to our Ian panel in Beirut. Ian, what can you tell us at this moment?
Yeah, hi there, Kira. I mean, this is clearly underway. There have been a lot of fears that this was coming, especially after the assassination of Hassan Nasrallah, the leader of Hezbollah for almost 3 decades. The live pictures that we're now seeing, certainly over the skies in Tel Aviv, show a lot of lights in the air. Now, what's unclear is whether these are ballistic missiles. We believe Iran has fired over 100 ballistic missiles. We certainly know that the Iron Dome and other air defenses are in operation, and this is happening right as we speak. A nationwide emergency alert to all Israelis to shelter. All our colleagues, people with friends and family are all hiding now, basically in bunkers. Many people in their homes, they have kind of makeshift shelters, and everyone is now underground. This came shortly after a terrorist attack in Israel. We're told that this is possibly the first of 4 waves of attacks. Now, this is almost, if the 250 figure is right, that's almost double the size of the attack that took place in April. Remember, Iran attacking at that time. We suspected that there would be an attack, but this is significantly larger. Israel has warned all of its citizens to take all precautions to try and stay underground if they can. We're certainly hearing the sounds of explosions from Tel Aviv in that feed that is coming from some of the television cameras there. So clearly terrifying moments for people on the ground. And then eventually we'll start to talk about what the response is. Israel has been very clear that if Iran attacks Israel, it is going to respond, and the response is going to be very severe. So we just have to wait and see. 99% of the missiles that were fired at Israel back in April were intercepted. This is double the size. That's a huge test of Israel's resources. Remember, you've got American service personnel on the ground there, as well as American citizens. You've got the U.S. Embassy and obviously lots of other foreign nationals as well. So this will be a terrifying night for many people. You know, we're hearing the sounds of explosions. Again, it's hard at this point to know whether these are intercepts or whether some of these missiles are actually going through. So to stress, we know that this first wave of attacks is now underway. We're told there could be 4. This first wave is over 100 ballistic missiles. There could be as many as 250 in total. Israel has warned that there will be a strong response to Iran. It's been planning this to how to retaliate for a long time, but especially that's been ramped up ever since Hassan Nasrallah was killed. People in this part of the world, here in Lebanon, have been waiting for an Iranian response. Many people have been crying out for it, especially in the Shia world. There's a lot of pressure on Iran to try and respond because its proxies here in Lebanon and elsewhere, certainly Hamas in Gaza, have been under immense pressure from Israel, trying to break this so-called axis of resistance. And this is the response from Iran. But a huge gamble by Iran and a very dangerous night for Israel.
Yo! Desfila, lo mami.
Allah.
I was 5 and he was 6. We rode on horses made of sticks. He wore black and I wore white. He would always win the fight. Bang, bang, he shot me down. Bang, bang, I hit the ground. Bang, bang, that awful sound. Bang, bang, My baby shut me down. Time when I grew up, I called him mine. He would always laugh and say, remember when we used to play? Bang, bang, I shot you down. Bang, bang, you hit the ground. Bang, bang, that awful sound. Bang, bang, I used to shoot you down.
Okay, guys, we gotta get off the roof. These are coming down right next to us here. They're coming down. One just about. We gotta go inside.
Now these are live images that we are bringing you from the Yemeni capital Sana'a, as Yemenis have taken to the streets to celebrate this much anticipated response by the Islamic Republic of Iran to Israel's regional aggression, having attacked Tel Aviv now with hundreds of ballistic missiles this evening, with reports putting the barrage at over 400 missiles. And according to the IRGC, less than 10% were intercepted by Israel's air defense systems. Now, we know that Yemenis have been some of the most vocal people in support of Palestinians against the campaign of genocide imposed on them by the Zionist entity. Every week after Friday prayers, we've seen Yemenis take to the streets of the city of Sa'ada, the port city of Hudaydah, the capital Sana'a, in the hundreds of thousands protesting against Israel's onslaught from the very first week of October all the way up until now. Nearly 52 weeks Yemenis have been out in the streets pushing for an end to the onslaught of Gazans, the Palestinians in the occupied West Bank. You can see their support for resistance leaders and factions and operations against the Zionist entity. Yemenis have also been protesting and vocalizing their support for the Yemen's armed forces, for the dozens upon dozens of attacks on Israeli-bound vessels in support of Palestinians Yemenis have been very active in those operations, with leader of Yemen's Nasrallah movement, Abdul Malik al-Houthi, saying that those operations will not cease even if the U.S. and the U.K. form a coalition, which they have in the Red Sea, to try to thwart Yemeni operations against Israeli interests, against Israeli-bound vessels, saying that if Gazans are being deprived of food, water, medicine, and goods, the occupied ports of Palestine should not be receiving goods, food, and foodstuff and items either.
analysis, in-depth interviews and explainers. Follow the Times of India. Subscribe to our YouTube channel. Don't forget to like our videos and hit the bell icon to stay updated with the latest.
در این منطقه ما اساس مشکل که این درگیری ها و جنگ ها و نگرانی ها و دشمنی ها و اینا رو به وجود میاره، اساس مشکل ناشی از حضور همون کسانی است که دم از صلح و آرامش منطقه میزنن، یعنی آمریکا و بعضی از کشورهای اروپایی. در این منطقه ما اساس مشکل که این درگیری ها و جنگ ها و نگرانی ها و دشمنی ها و اینا رو به وجود میاره، اساس مشکل ناشی از حضور همون کسانی است که دم از صلح و آرامش منطقه میزنن، یعنی آمریکا و بعضی از کشورهای اروپایی. اینا اگر شرشون رو از این منطقه کم بکنن، بدون شک این درگیری ها، این جنگ ها، این برخوردها به کلی از بین خواهد رفت. و کشورهای منطقه میتونن خودشون رو اداره کنن، منطقهشون رو اداره کنن، با هم با صلح و سلامت و عافیت.
If the state of Lebanon and the world can't push Hezbollah away from our border, we have no choice but to do it ourselves. I want to make it clear. Our war is with Hezbollah, not with the people of Lebanon. We do not want to harm Lebanese civilians, and we're taking measures to prevent that.
Subscribe to our YouTube channel. Don't forget to like our videos and hit the bell icon to stay updated with the latest.
Iranian ballistic missiles strikes focus on key Israeli military sites such as Nevatim Air Base near Beersheba and Tel Nof Air Base, both of which house the billion-dollar Israeli F-35 fighter jets and other high-value assets. Additional targets included the Hatzerim Air Base in the Negev Desert and the Mossad headquarters in Tel Aviv. This is the Fatah hypersonic missile and the Shahab-3, and we'll look into the details why the Arrow missile failed to intercept the Iranian glide vehicles, all in the video ahead. The U.S. traced the launch location to a valley south of the Iranian city of Shiraz. Iran has launched its largest ever attack on Israel, firing 180 ballistic missiles. These missiles traveled more than 1,000 miles from this valley to reach Israel's most populated city and military sites. Iran used variants of the Shahab-3 ballistic missile in its latest attack on Israel. The Shahab-3 is the foundation for all of Iran's medium-range ballistic missiles and uses liquid propellant. It can carry a warhead weighing between 760 and 1,200 kilograms, which translates to 1,675 and 2,645 pounds. How it works. Step 1. The missile is positioned at a 90-degree angle and then fired. Step 2. The ballistic missile's trajectory takes it outside or near the edge of Earth's atmosphere. Step 3. The warhead payload separates from the rocket that carried it aloft and re-enters the atmosphere, descending towards its target. Step 4. The missile can carry a single or multiple warheads, depending on the variant. The warhead separates from the single-stage rocket after it has traveled about more than half the distance to its target. The most prolific Scud variants had a circular error probable of 300 to 450 meters. This means that 50% of the missiles fired at a target would land within a circle of that diameter. This is the Fatah 2, the successor to the Fatah 1. It was used for the first time and is one of Iran's advanced missile systems. This missile is equipped with a hypersonic glide vehicle. Inside it is the warhead, which detaches and allows the missile to maneuver and glide at speeds between Mach 5 and 10. The missile has a range of around 1,500 kilometers, only slightly more than its predecessor, the Fatah 1. What sets it apart from other ballistic missiles is its ability to accelerate outside the Earth's atmosphere, while its aerodynamic control surfaces enable steering to evade the famous Arrow missile's defense system made by Israel. But first, let's look at what is a hypersonic missile. Hypersonic missiles are a challenging technology to master because they are so fast that if the U.S. launched a Scramjet missile, it could reach China in just 18 minutes, traveling at speeds of Mach 5 and above. These Scramjet engines collect oxygen from the atmosphere as they travel, mixing it with hydrogen fuel to create the combustion needed for hypersonic flight. Meanwhile, glide hypersonic vehicles, like the Chinese Dongfeng 17, became the first to integrate into production with conventional and nuclear warheads. They are also designed to target U.S. aircraft carriers, as they can change their trajectory mid-flight. This U.S. Arrow AGM hypersonic weapon is a missile within a missile which pops out its cover and uses only the glide vehicle kinetic energy as a weapon, and not to forget the Russian hypersonic missile like the Kinzhal. To qualify as a hypersonic missile, it must possess 3 key attributes: speed, maneuverability, and accuracy. Let's look at speed. As we all know, Mach 1 represents the speed of sound, which serves as our benchmark. To better understand this, let's make a few comparisons. Commercial airliners, for example, fly subsonically, just below Mach 1. In contrast, modern fighter jets can travel supersonically, reaching speeds of Mach 2 or 3. When we refer to hypersonic speeds, we're talking about anything Mach 5 and above. Space shuttles are an example of vehicles that travel hypersonically, often reaching speeds between Mach 20 and 24. But these can travel only for short distances at these speed. To sum it up, a hypersonic missile should cross Mach 25, which is around 19,000 miles per hour. But wait, that's not it. Hypersonic missiles should also have the capability of covering vast distances, such as from New York to Russia or from China to Texas and vice versa. Before we looked into how Fatah missiles managed to penetrate Israeli air defense, we have to understand how Arrow 3 missile works. The Arrow missile defense system consists of 3 basic parts: the missile launcher unit, the Green Pine radar antenna, and the Arrow missile. The missile launcher unit is composed of 6 erector launcher tubes housing ready-to-fire missiles. Positioned at the rear of a 2-axle trailer, each launcher, when fully loaded with 6 launch tubes carrying ready-to-fire missiles, weighs 35 tons. The Green Pine radar serves as the warning and fire control radar for the Arrow 3 anti-ballistic air defense missile system. It plays a crucial role in target detection and guidance. The Arrow operates as a 2-stage missile. Let's look inside this engineering technology. This is the solid propellant booster and sustainer rocket motors. At the rocket's peak sits the ignition chamber, triggering the combustion of the solid propellant when activated. This propellant isn't just any substance. It's a meticulously crafted blend of fuel and oxidizer poured into a casing and then cured. Encasing this blend is a protective shell called the motor case. At the core of the rocket lies the propellant burning zone. Here, the solid fuel and oxidizer react, producing incredibly high-temperature combustion gases, which helps to launch the rocket at incredible speed above the Earth's surface. Moving further to the front, the most important part of the missile is the kill vehicle, which can be divided into 3 basic parts. The second stage is the propulsion system with a thrust vectoring nozzle. Just above it is the warhead, a directed high-explosive fragmentation weighing 150 kilograms, which translates to 330 pounds. The third stage is the seeker, capable of pivoting itself to track its target. But what's the big deal about this long-range anti-ballistic missile system? Let's start with the propulsion system. The famous THAAD, Terminal High Altitude Area Defense, uses a divert attitude control thrusters. In comparison to the Arrow 3 kill vehicle, which utilizes a thrust vectoring nozzle with a solid fuel rocket, it has a shorter and more limited burn time. It has a few advantages, one of them being the ability to compensate for a lack of radar accuracy. When the radar sends the interceptor to an inaccurate target location, the Arrow 3 kill vehicle can adjust its trajectory. Since intercontinental ballistic missiles travel at very high speeds, the kill vehicle must change its trajectory based on newer, more accurate radar data from its seeker. A failure to fully divert the course to the new target would result in a failure to intercept. Now let's take a look how the Israeli defense system works. The Israeli defense system consists of 3 tiers. First up is the long-range Arrow missile defense system, which was designed specifically with Iranian missiles in mind. Each of these system rockets costs a few $1,000,000, and they can intercept missiles outside the Earth's atmosphere, resulting in enhanced protection. The second layer of defense is the so-called David Sling system, designed for taking out missiles and drones. Finally, the Iron Dome stops most short-range rocket attacks in Israel. Let's take a look at why the Iron Dome failed to intercept the Iranian ballistic missiles. Apart from discussing the multi-layered missile defense system, the Iron Dome itself has a range of around 40 miles, while the David Sling can intercept ballistic missiles up to a range of 180 miles. The top-tier Arrow anti-ballistic missile systems can target threats up to 1,500 miles away. According to reports, 180 ballistic missiles, which are possibly hypersonic as claimed by the Iranian Revolutionary Guard, were launched. Although the Arrow missile defense system successfully intercepted many missiles before they reached Israel, many still got through. The main problem behind the failure to intercept was after the detachment of the glide vehicle from the launcher. The glide vehicle can change its trajectory multiple times, which confused the Arrow missiles. This maneuver also bypassed the David's sling and finally the Iron Dome system, which is not designed to counter hypersonic missiles like the Fatah II model. As a result, the interceptor missed for targets and the glide vehicle landed on military bases where the $100 million F-35 jets were stationed. Let's examine the cost implications of a single day of missile attacks. Iran expended over $200 million by launching ballistic missiles along with drones, whereas the IDF spent $1 billion to defend itself. This includes the Arrow missile, which costs around $2.5 million. The David sling costs around $1 million to produce, while the Iron Dome costs around $20,000 to $100,000 for a single missile, depending on inflation. By contrast, Iranian ballistic missiles cost around $200,000 each, and its drones only $20,000 to $50,000 each.
¡Que viva nuestra patria Venezuela! ¡Que viva Palestina! ¡Que viva el Líbano! ¡Que viva la patria grande! ¡Hasta la victoria siempre! ¡Que viva la Guaira! Gracias, muchas gracias. ¡Venceremos!
Usted lleva al frente de este Gobierno prácticamente un año, un Gobierno en el que ya solo manda usted, en el que puede hacer lo que quiera, sin presiones, sin ruido. Y, sin embargo, lo que está viendo la gente es que cuando solo mandan ustedes, lo único que saben hacer son medidas de derechas y están muy lejos de ser esa izquierda que dicen, aunque se llamen a sí mismos zurdos. Mire, presidente, yo creo que de lo que estamos hablando es muy serio. El pasado domingo, Israel hizo esto. Quemó vivas a decenas de personas en tiendas de campaña cuando estaban en un hospital refugiadas. ¿Qué diferencia hay entre esto y las cámaras de gas de los nazis? Se lo pregunto, señorías, a todos, al presidente. Ninguna diferencia. Y nosotras estamos siendo cómplices como país de este genocidio. Usted recorre el mundo hablando de un embargo de armas que ustedes son incapaces de aplicar como Gobierno. El Gobierno, su Gobierno, ha vendido armas después del 7 de octubre. Ha comprado armas por valor de 1.000 millones de euros. 1.000 millones de euros, señorías, durante este año de genocidio. Han permitido el transporte de armas a través de nuestros puertos durante todo este año. Si se cree de verdad el embargo de armas, señor Sánchez, deje de mentir y aplíquelo de una vez.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. This is Marwa Osman, whom Zionist genocidal psychopaths have been having a field day over a clip from RT finding out on live TV that her mentor and leader was assassinated. Don't mind those baby killers. Bear with me today. I want to tell you about the relationship between our martyr Sayyid Hassan Nasrallah and the men and women of my generation. Our love for him is a bond difficult to grasp by those who haven't experienced it firsthand. It's not like the affection our parents had for him, nor does it really resemble the admiration of generations that really came just after us. He wasn't just a symbol or merely a leader. Many of us didn't even share his ideological line at some point when we were younger. But for us, the children of the 80s and the 90s, we grew up alongside him. Our consciousness shaped by his victories. We witnessed the liberation of South Lebanon with him. We drew inspiration for our own identities from his noble traits. Every adolescent in search of a role model looked up to him. Every ambitious youth yearning for a unique mark of distinction found pride in being associated with his following. We often felt pity for others, or at times even a sense of superiority over them. After all, we had this strong, wise, gentle, and loving man brimming with charisma. What did they have for souls? He wove the fabric of our tight-knit community, one that could have been fragmented by countless factors, but was united by our love for our Sayyid Hassan Nasrallah. When we were afraid, he reassured us. When we were lost, he guided us. We didn't see him often, only catching glimpses of him on the small screen TV, yet his presence was monumental whenever he appeared before us. He didn't speak Italy, nor did he have a social media presence. But like children with their father, we knew he was always there for us. That idea comforted us, gave us peace of mind. He cherished us, and we cherished him. He took pride in us, and we were ever so proud of him. He was our support, our rock, the comforting thought that calmed the turmoil of our doubts and our fears. Today we are orphaned with the loss of our father. However, the journey continues. Others may come after him. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is above all and beyond all. But he was our companion through our days, the one who granted us dignity and the pride of our youth. 33 years of our lives with him cannot be replaced, for we remain loyal not just to his position as leader of the resistance and the axis of resistance, but to the man himself. Ya Samahat Sayyid al-Shaheed, we mourn you, our beloved. You have attained what you sought with the highest degrees of martyrdom, and so we weep. We do it for ourselves when we weep. We mourn you, Sayyid, as a beautiful idea in an ugly world. Yet we are certain that when ideas flourish, they never do die. We mourn a towering hero in a story that would have been sweeter had you still been part of it. We mourn a unity you forged so that we may be hearts united, a congregation together. We mourn your solitude, the cold that brushed against a heart that never withheld its warmth nor its sacrifices from us, his followers and his students. We mourn you, Ya Sayyid, because true leaders, if found, deserve abundant tears upon their farewell. And for us, there is no leader like you. The least we can do is shed tears for you for the rest of eternity. Thank you for being you. And thank you for accepting us as your followers. في أمان الله ورعايته على العهد باقون إن شاء الله. السلام